Andy, how are you? What can you tell us about the concept of trust networks? For instance, what is a trust network? Is it a useful analytical tool at all? Does the concept have anything to offer us in the current moment or in general? Do you have any personal anecdotes or information or advice worth sharing, etc.? This is really just a chance for you to freewheel on the topic, trust networks. Thanks.
Okay, Anthony, I'll accept your invitation to freewheel on trust networks. This is unrehearsed, so please be forgiving. A trust network is a network of people, each link of which is where person A receives information from person B, and person B is trusted by A for that kind of information. Right? So through these links, you get a whole network whereby information of a particular kind reaches the person. And the person trusts it because it came from a trusted person. And if asked, it came to them from a trusted source. Right? We rely on trust networks far more than you might think. The Lancet, for example, relies on a trust network. Sure, the editors have a knowledge of medical science, so they can recognize a fake when they see it generally, but they assume that when a known institute submits a paper with recommendations coming from a known international institution, that said institute has actually, for instance, done the survey and reported the results that were received. So if a company submits to the Lancet a paper reporting a large-scale clinical trials of tens of thousands of uses of hydrochloroquine and finds that it increases the death rate from COVID, they don't have any problem about putting that on their pre-publication website. But as soon as it goes there, of course, this is a hot topic, experts in the area begin to look at the data. My God, they recognize looking at the data from their personal experience in the field that it's fake. Phone up the editors of Lancet, say, take that bloody report down, it's fake. Now, how do I know about this? I read probably The Guardian or listen to it on the ABC, a report from the Lancet says hydrochloroquine has been shown to increase death rate. Now, one, it's true. I readily believe it because it confirms my prejudice that this is something that's been trumped up by Trump. And C, medical science has shown that it's fake. But I was quite willing to abandon that belief a few days later when I got the news that the clinical trials were fake. And in fact, the question as to whether hydrochloroquine was effective against COVID was still an open question, according to science. So I abandoned that belief, even though it was contrary to my prejudices. So sure, confirmation bias is a factor. That is to say, it's well known that we more readily believe something that confirms an existing belief, but not as powerful as trust networks. So, for example, how is it that someone who's a modern educated person can believe that 5G can cause a viral infection? This is crazy stuff. Well, if someone you trust tells you and, insists, and yeah, it's surprising, but this is the case, then you're likely to believe it. Now, the thing is that friend actually someone with medical knowledge? Maybe not. Of course, so it's important for the individual person to distinguish between someone they trust and would trust with their life, for example, over simple questions like, is the guy next door a maniac, or is he just an excitable person, or is 5G a dangerous source of radiation? You might trust one person on the question of the nature of electromagnetic radiation, and another person about the personality of your neighbor. Okay, so we only know a tiny section of the universe through our personal experience. Now, even what we know for our personal experience, of course, we process those experiences based on our existing knowledge, but at least we had it through personal experience, and our previous beliefs were well founded. So, of course, we interpret our experience in terms of what we know to be true. But for 99.999% of the universe, so to speak, much more than that, of course, we know about it only because someone we trusted told us. And that's as true of the Lancet as it is of Joe Bloggs. Now, I could give countless examples of this, and there's a paper that I'll send you that I wrote on vaccine hesitancy, which analyzes this in detail. But the additional problem with trust networks are as old as humanity, right? But whereas a nation or a culture is bound together by a complex web of trust networks that deliver information of different kinds to a person, whereby you trust your doctor for medical information and your neighbour for whether the Essendon is going to win the football premiership or not, for example. The process of what's called politicisation has led to the one and the same trust network delivering all kinds of information. So it has been established that during the past 30 years, people will seek information about medical questions from their doctor, in the overwhelming majority, will generally not seek information on medical matters from the internet. But if a friend or neighbour contradicts the medical information coming from a doctor, they're inclined to believe the neighbour or friend. Right? So the problem of politicisation has the effect of crystallising many trust networks into two mutually exclusive ones, and that's the big danger. Right? So thank you for letting me rub it on.